Hello, hello, and welcome to a Purposeful Woman podcast. And today we have my dear friend Jennifer Urezzio coming back to our podcast. Hi, Jennifer.
Hello, I'm so honored to be here, and I'm so honored to be called a friend.
Oh, amazing. Well, Jennifer. Jennifer is the old friend that I've known for a little bit, and I wanted to bring her back to share a beautiful modality that she teaches. And I would love to introduce her, so I'm going to introduce her here again one more time for those who has not listened. But if you want to listen to her previous episode, it's the 112th episode. So, Jennifer is the founder of a soul language, a paradigm that puts tangibility to soul so a conscious connection can be established to enable crystal clear decisions for success. Jennifer is also a master intuitive and the author of two best-selling books. Currently, she has trained over 30 practitioners worldwide in soul language. At this time, there are over 5,000 individuals all over the world connecting to their soul languages.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here and so excited.
Yeah, so I have a few questions for you. For those who would like to listen a story and how Jennifer created that, you can go back to episode 112 and listen to the whole story. But I would love to dive deeper in this episode to soul language. So how can people start listening to their soul now?
I think first of all, people hear their soul more than they think. Sometimes they hear it through that thing we call intuition. But to deepen that connection, it really is about having a conversation. It's about sitting down, asking questions, being open to the answers. So often people go, well, how do I know it's my soul or my, personality? Who cares? Meaning, yes, if it's your personality, there's some layers of ego or pain or suffering that might be included. But if you sit down and ask the most profound question, if I knew I was whole and complete today, what would I hear from my soul? And that is going to allow you to have that deeper connection and take action on what your soul is offering you versus what your program is deciding is the best course of action for you.
That's beautiful. So sitting down and just asking question as it is already happened, what I'm hearing. And even though, what I can feel like people can hear the answer, but then they're just not acting on it. So what do you think keep people from expressing their truth?
I think a lot of things. I think it's most truth when we hear it is outside what we've been told and outside the norm. I think so often people are afraid to actually talk to their soul because they're afraid that they're going to hear their worst nightmare, which is, hey, Jen, you suck, which is not true. Your soul's never going to say that. And acting on it is because most often that soulful advice is in direct contradiction with what your mind is saying, right? So often our mind wants to keep us in the illusion of safety, it wants to keep us in our comfort zone. And our soul is saying more. Our soul is saying, unlimited possibilities. And when we have to act on that, our trust kind of gets weak and we have to participate in practicing trust. And a lot of us don't know how to do that.
So how are you practicing trust?
Yeah. There's a couple ways. One, you can activate it using your body's lack of free will, which is divine intelligence, fill me with the feeling and knowing of trust. And you keep activating that body and your body keep feeling that. And another one is if I knew I was going to be safe, completed, whole, receive what I want, what action would I take now? And then you keep stepping forward. And here's the thing, if you're working on trust, don't do something huge right off. Take baby steps with the trust so you can start to build that relationship between you and your soul rather than going, oh, my soul said, let's quit our job. Like start small. Don't go for the big ones right away.
Beautiful. Thank you. So what is a soul language? Like, can you describe it more?
Yeah, so each one of us has this knowledge of who we are, even if we don't have words to it. And what soul language does is it takes three core energies of soul and puts words to it: your mission, how you'll be known here, and then your soulful personality. And what that allows the human to do, it helps allow the human to align with soul. And it puts words to what we know deep down inside. So I always knew that I had this warrior like energy, right? So when I identified my own soul languages, what I identified was this soulful personality called Graceful Warrior. And I was like, oh my God, this is why I feel like I need to make war with everything. But when I moved from the unconscious to the conscious expression of that, it life just became easier, right? People come to me for my courage and my strength and my, ability to declare and kind of put the stake in the ground. That's all warrior energy. And I remember the moment that I healed it when I was sitting across from someone and we just met and I was talking and I was like, yeah, I have warrior energy. And he's like, that's cool. And I went, oh, look, it's expressing outside because I healed it internally. And that's what we're really doing by connecting with our soul. We're allowing our human pain and suffering to be released and to take action and being from our soul, from that place of knowing that we're whole and complete. And that puts you in the infinite amount of possibilities.
That is so beautiful. And I know there are four types of soul language.
There's three categories and
Three categories.
107 core energies of soul.
And seven core energies. Yes, we did this I remember doing it a test with you. So cool. So I know you do have a really awesome gift for people where they can learn more about their energies. Is that right? Can you tell?
Yeah, I would be honored. So here's the thing. I think so often people, especially people who are highly creative and highly intuitive, don't conduct a sacred practice because they think it needs to be this way. They need to meditate for 4 hours or I don't meditate. And if I do, it's a walking meditation because I'm a warrior and we like to move. So, my free gift is really creating this sacred practice and the parts of sacred practice so you can create an ongoing connection with yourself and your higher self that actually fits into your life. So, you will do it. So, you won't feel guilty. So, it will actually nurture and support you. So, that's what the gift's about. It's all about the parts of sacred practice and how to create one that's individual to you. So, you'll start actually being in sacred practice.
Beautiful. Yes, and we will link everything in the show notes. And the last question that I always ask in words of filling the blank, and you're familiar, well, you get to come up with something else. If you really knew me, you will know that I am blank.
Part of me wants to go funny and part of me wants to go serious. So, like I am really competitive. I was talking to a friend of mine from the dog park yesterday. We had dinner and I was like, "Oh, are those games?" And she's like, "Yeah." She's like, "Why?" I was like, "You don't want to play games with me." She's like, "Why? You would seem great." I go, "Cause I'm so competitive that I like move into want to win." And I'm very competitive when it comes to games. So that's something that a lot of people don't know unless they really know me.
Cool. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Where our audience can find you as well? So could you share with us on social media or website?
Social media, yeah. I have a Facebook group called Spiritual Renegades, and it's
Beautiful.
filled with a lot of creative, innovative people. So if you think you're a renegade, please feel free to join.
Awesome. And we will link everything in the show notes. So if you do watching or listening to this episode, just scroll down and there are going to be a link to go to a web page of this episode. And you can also watch a video if you're just listening. And Jennifer is a beautiful soul. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
listening and watching. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye. And if you love this episode and you would love to see more of that, click the subscribe button to Purposeful Woman Podcast. And don't forget to text us to stay in tune with the Purposeful community for awesome tricks by texting to number +1 401 399 4105. And we will link descriptions in the episode to all of that we mentioned today. Bye. Turn your one day to day one with a purposeful day.